What's going on, guys? This is Victor
And Betty.
and we actually decided to cover our leg day today. Today, like I said, quick leg day. We are trying to go over some of our movements to increase our squat, primarily since last week we went ahead and maxed out on it to figure out where we were. So now we have a better understanding of where we're at. And so here we are in the gym, ready to take on the next 6 months planned to put at least a minimum of 75 pounds on our squats. So really quick, just wanted to take you guys through my mobility movements pre-squats. As you can see here, well, in the beginning, I did start by rolling out my hip flexors, my top part of my hip flexors. And as you can see here, I look really sloppy. So yeah, pretty much the top part of my hip flexors, that's to release my tight hips, because unfortunately I do have tight hips, and this pretty much increases my range of motion on any daily task really, but in this case for squats, I do have tight hips. Like I said, I do have a tight lower back, so that definitely helps a lot. And then here you're going to see me foam rolling my glutes to again pretty much release any scar tissue I may have built up, tight fascia, and it'll also provide some lower back pain relief, and as well as prepare me for activating my glutes in the squats. Now here we are foam rolling the IT band, which again allows to open up your hips. And believe it or not, it's kind of painful in the beginning, but once you stretch this area out correctly, you start to realize that a lot of your lower back and hip problems that you may have are all associated with your IT band and just tight hips overall. So pretty much after doing Joe DeFranco's Agile 8 as well as his Limber 11, I've been able to increase the range of motion in my hips, and my lower back pain, it's not as bad as it used to be. Right here, I'm foam rolling my quads. Feels good, honestly. The quads are a big muscle group, and especially on a leg day, I like to foam roll them to make sure I get some blood pumping through them. And then I also like to elevate my knees up, just to try to tighten up my quads and get some more rolling in there. And now here I'm foam rolling my hamstrings, trying to release those tight hamstrings, which by the way are pretty bad.
All of this obviously affects your form. If you're not stretched out and you don't have good flexibility, you definitely want to stretch out so that you have a little bit more range of motion, and that you're, keeping your posture correct so that you're not getting injured when you're, squatting.
Or realistically anything for that matter.
Right.
A lot of people, they walk around with their heads tilted forward and their hips are usually pointed forward or pointed backwards. And believe it or not, this actually does have a lot to do with lower back pain. It's not just because you go to the gym and next thing you know, you snap something up. Yes, that was a contributing factor, but realistically, it's just your overall posture, and unless you have perfect posture all the time, you're bound to run into any issues. So before you hit a quick workout or even after, I always suggest people to foam roll, do some dynamic stretching, which means you're not actually doing any holds on your stretch for longer than 5 seconds, for example, because they actually have found, there have been studies that have shown that when you do static stretching, that actually does kind of decrease your performance overall in the gym. Although I would say that, I've done some static stretching before and it hasn't really affected me, but a lot of these people, they stretch for minutes to, 10 minutes or whatever. And here I'm actually doing the fire hydrant hip circles. Again, warms up the hips, releases my hips, and just opens up for better movement. This is also part of Joe DeFranco's Agile 8. And this is another movement that I've definitely seen help me with my tight hips and opening me up as far as like squats go and everything. Over here, I'm also doing I guess I could call this a passive lunge. Mm-hmm. Again, opens up the hips, because me being a problematic person when it comes to hips, it's just terrible. So I try to get as much movement and as much opening as I can. And it feels good. In the beginning, it's really tight. It's terrible, but overall, once you get used to it, it's like you feel like all these emotions releasing. It's amazing.
And you definitely notice a difference. There are some days when, we're tight on time and we don't really have time to stretch. And you definitely feel the difference in our bodies with the way that we move, whether it be, chest, shoulders, or legs and back day. So definitely keep in mind that you will feel a difference once you get into the habit of stretching and foam rolling. It definitely is beneficial. It definitely adds, contributes to the strength building that you can work on.
These are some iron crosses I like to do. It opens up your lumbar region. Any issues you may have with your spine, it actually cracks them for you, and you feel really good after. I also like to just let my legs go to each side to open up the hips again, as if we're not talking about that enough. And I like to do internal rotations as well. It feels weird and it looks weird at first, but a lot of people forget that, your hips, they're very dynamic. You can move them in any direction you want. But a lot of people, they just think that all you do is just sit with them, which is true, but you forget they also help with internal rotation, and if that's tight, it also contributes to any lower back problems that you may have. And here I'm doing some rolling V sit-ups. This opens up your lower back. Every time I do them, I always tend to release my lumbar region, and I get some cracks here and there, so it feels really good. And this is another thing that's also helped me with my tight quadratus lumborum. And then, after I come out of the rolling, I actually go into a hamstring stretch. But again, keeping it dynamic, not holding it for too long. One big issue that I have are tight ankles and tight calves. So I've been, trying to get them to release for the past 2 weeks now. I like to do these, what would you say, knee wall touches. So basically what this does is that it just prepares the ankles and the calves for the movement coming up. It just gets some blood flowing in, heats up the joints a little bit. And at first, when I first started, I can only get my toes to the wall, and that's how I could touch my knee to the wall. But now I've been able to push my foot back a little bit and actually get some more range of motion into my calves as well as my ankles. And again, this is a big problem for people. They're sedentary, so their ankles tend to be super tight. So that's that. Let's go ahead and check out the squats. Here we go. Leg day, December 3rd, 2017. Let's rock it.
thunder. Kids were laughing in my classes while I was scheming for the masses. Who do you think you are? Dreaming about being a big star. They say you're basic, they say you're easy. You're always riding in the backseat. Now I'm smiling from the stage while you were clapping in the nosebleeds. Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder, thunder. Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder, thunder.
And well, there you have it. My first official vlog for my leg day. Hopefully, it went pretty well. First time editing with iMovie, so, only the sky's the limit at this point with editing, and we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to comment below. And, yeah. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Damn! Look at that form. Whoa. Snap.
It's a great leg day.
Okay, bye.